Now we are entering the most important part of this entire GST course. Up to this point, we have understood the concepts: how GST works, how it is classified, how it is accounted for, and how BAS functions. But theory alone does not build confidence. Confidence comes from doing. In this session, we are going to prepare a real quarterly BAS from actual business data, step by step, exactly the way a professional bookkeeper or accountant would do it in practice. Our case study business is Brightmate Electronics Proprietary Limited, a GST-registered electronics retailer based in Melbourne. The business reports quarterly under the calculation method and uses the simpler BAS format. The reporting period we are working with is 1st July to 30th September 2025. Before opening the BAS form, the first discipline of a professional is this: never begin with the form. Always begin with the transactions. The BAS is only a summary of activity that has already happened, so we must first understand the quarter's financial activity clearly. During this quarter, Brightmate made total taxable sales of $154,000, and that amount includes GST. Since GST is 1/11th of the total, the GST collected on these sales is $14,000. In addition to taxable sales, the business also made export sales of $11,000. These exports are GST-free, so no GST was charged on them. The business also earned a small amount of bank interest of $300, which is input taxed and does not involve GST. Now let's turn to purchases. The business acquired display shelving worth $11,000, including GST. That is a capital purchase, and the GST portion on that amount is $1,000. Brightmate also incurred non-capital expenses, including inventory, rent, utilities, and software subscriptions, totaling $95,700, including GST. The GST included in those non-capital purchases is $8,700. There were also bank fees and loan interest totaling $3,200, but these did not include GST, so no credits are available on those amounts. One additional detail requires attention. The business purchased a mobile phone for $2,200, including GST. The GST component is $200. However, only 50% of that phone is used for business purposes. That means Brightmate can claim only 50% of the GST, which is $100, and the private portion is simply ignored for GST credit purposes. Now let's summarize the GST position clearly. GST collected on sales is $14,000. GST credits on purchases include $1,000 from capital purchases and $8,700 from non-capital purchases. Then we add the business use portion of the phone's GST, which is $100. That means the total GST credits claimable are $9,800. This gives us a net GST payable of $4,200 for the quarter. Now, before we move to the BAS form itself, we are going to complete the GST calculation worksheet. This worksheet is not something we lodge with the BAS. In fact, it clearly states at the top that it should not be lodged. It is simply a working document that helps us calculate GST properly and transfer accurate amounts into the BAS.